Are you feeling lost in the maze of memories, haunted by the shadow of a narcissistic ex? Do you find yourself troubled, tormented, unable to understand why you still miss someone who caused you so much pain? Don't worry, you are not alone. The journey to healing after a toxic relationship with a narcissist is filled with paradoxes and emotions that are hard to explain. Missing your ex, even though they deeply hurt you, is one of those complexities. In this video, let's delve into the psychological corners hidden behind the longing for a narcissistic ex. Together we'll decode the intricate psychological mechanisms, expose the subtle manipulative tactics they employed, and discover the path to breaking free from the ghosts of the past. Get ready, because this journey will be challenging and will require the courage to confront unhealed wounds and the clever traps of the mind. But don't worry, I will be here with you every step of the way, helping you regain your strength and confidence as you move forward on the path to healing and finding true happiness. Our minds are like cameras, capturing every moment of our lives. But sometimes, this camera develops a glitch, preserving only the beautiful memories while erasing the pain and heartbreak. In a relationship with a narcissist, this glitch becomes even more severe. You think you miss them, their smile, their gaze, their warm voice. But in reality, you're longing for a perfect love story you crafted in your own mind. You remember the beautiful moments, the hollow promises, the thrilling excitement of the early days. But do you recall the times you were gaslit, demeaned, or deceived? The answer, likely, is no. This is the power of distorted nostalgia, a subtle trick your mind plays to deceive itself. It acts like a rose-colored lens, filtering out the dark hues and leaving only shimmering, enchanting images. And within this fog of longing, it's easy to lose your way, forgetting the pain and suffering you endured. To put it metaphorically, you're not remembering the person, but rather their phantom in your mind. That phantom is adorned with expectations and illusions of a perfect love, and when the phantom fades, you're jolted awake to a harsh reality. Sounds confusing? Let me explain in more detail below. Reason 1. You're longing for the version of them you once hoped for. Let's rewind to the moment you first met them. Did you feel like you had found your perfect match? They showered you with sweetness, immersing you in emotions you'd never experienced before. But imagine if they had revealed their true nature as manipulative, deceitful, and selfish from the start. Would you have been so quick to give them your heart? The answer is likely no. So let me emphasize this. From the very beginning, you didn't fall in love with who they truly were. You fell in love with the version they worked hard to portray. They were like masters of illusion, skillfully creating an image to steal your heart. When the act ended and their mask fell, you were left stunned by the harsh truth. What you're holding on to is not their true self, but an idealized image imprinted in your mind. You're longing for the sweet moments of early days, for the perfect version they once pretended to be, not the calculating, selfish person they truly are. You cannot truly miss someone who deeply hurt you. You can't yearn for the lies, the betrayal, or the cruel manipulation. What lingers is an empty shell, an illusion of a perfect love that never really existed. So, don't mistake this longing as missing their real self. In truth, you're yearning for the values and emotional connections you once believed they represented. You're longing for the dream you were sold. It's time to wake up and accept the truth so you can let go of the past and move forward toward real happiness. Reason 2. You're clinging to their promises. What else do you miss? Perhaps it's the sweet promises they whispered to you, those vivid visions of a happy future they carefully painted. I'll change. We'll have a wonderful life together. We just need to get through this phase. These words were like a drug, lulling you into a false dream and keeping you trapped in the toxic relationship. Narcissists are masters of manipulation. They know how to spark hope within you, convincing you that tomorrow will be brighter and that they will change for your sake. But the harsh reality is that these promises are merely a cover for their selfishness and lack of empathy. What's even sadder is that sometimes you become the scriptwriter of this illusory love story. You imagine scenarios where they would reform, becoming the ideal partner you've always dreamed of. Once his financial situation stabilizes, he'll be kinder, or he's just under too much pressure right now. You rationalize their behavior, finding excuses to justify their wrongdoings. And so you're caught in an endless cycle of waiting and hoping in vain. You miss their promises, the sense of hope they gave you, without realizing you're trapped in a toxic relationship where happiness is nothing more than a distant phantom. It's time to break free from this illusion, to see those promises for what they truly were, empty words meant to control and manipulate. Only then can you reclaim your freedom and begin your journey toward genuine healing and happiness. Reason 3. You miss the time you spent with them. Time and distance can often distort our memories, especially in a relationship where the narcissist left you with a whirlwind of emotions, from the initial happiness to the shock of seeing their mask slip, and finally, the heartbreak when the relationship reached its end. When the waves of emotion settle, it's easy to get lost in nostalgia, recalling the beautiful moments and whispering to yourself, "If only." You might imagine a better tomorrow if the two of you reunited, where the wounds have healed and happiness has returned. This phenomenon is known in psychology as rosy retrospection, where you only remember the good memories while forgetting the dark corners of the relationship. It's like remembering a perfect evening in a luxurious hotel with a fine bottle of wine while forgetting the heated argument beforehand or the third-party message the narcissist secretly sent afterward. Research by Elizabeth Loftus, a leading expert on memory, shows that human memory isn't a perfect recording of reality, but is highly influenced by emotions, time, and external factors. Loftus emphasizes that memories can be edited, blending real events with imagined elements. This explains why, when reflecting on a relationship, we often focus on the happy and romantic moments, while glossing over or erasing the painful truths. However, you must remember that rosy retrospection is merely a trap of memory. It causes you to forget the suffering and disappointment you endured, making it easier for you to fall back into a toxic relationship. You remember the happiness, but you forget that it was just a few sparkling grains of sand amidst the desert of abuse, manipulation, and pain. This phenomenon becomes even more dangerous when you end a relationship with a narcissist. Breaking up with them is not the end. It's like stepping into a new, perilous cycle. Their love operates on a 4-stage cycle of abuse. Love bombing, where they flood you with sweet illusions. Manipulation, making you dependent and disoriented. Discarding, abandoning you without mercy. And finally, hoovering, using every trick to pull you back. After discarding you, they reappear with the same familiar love-bonding tactics. Sweet words and thoughtful gestures are performed again, making you believe they've changed, that love has been reborn. But don't celebrate just yet. This is only part of their cunning cycle of abuse, designed to ensnare you in a painful trauma bond. You'll once again feel special, loved, and valued. The holes in your soul will be temporarily filled by their sugary promises. You'll believe that this time will be different, that they've truly reformed. But be cautious. This is just a more elaborate trap, a more carefully orchestrated performance. Remember, the nature of a narcissist cannot change. They will repeat this cycle of abuse again and again, plunging you into confusion and sorrow. To escape this trap, try writing down the negative experiences you endured in the relationship. When the beautiful memories resurface, reread those notes to remind yourself of the harsh truths. Don't let yourself be deceived by rose-tinted nostalgia. Be strong, move forward, and seek true happiness for yourself. Reason 4. You regret the years manipulated by them. The end of any relationship leaves emotional scars, but breaking up with a narcissist is exponentially more painful and difficult. This is because you're not just mourning the loss of the relationship, you're also grieving the shattered dreams and false hopes they painted for you. You weep for the ideal relationship you longed for, one filled with understanding, respect, and genuine love. You regret the sweet promises of a happy future, the sand castles they built just to trap you in their toxic game of love. Beyond that, you grieve for yourself, for the part of you that was lost in the relationship. You sacrificed so much, gave so much, yearning for love and acceptance, only to receive rejection, judgment, and scraps of affection in return. You feel like a bird, caged, with your wings clipped, robbed of your freedom and ability to soar. If this was a long-term relationship, the pain intensifies as you mourn the wasted years of your youth. You remember the vibrant dreams and aspirations of your younger days, now seemingly swept away in vain and regret. You feel trapped, in sorrow, unable to move forward. Breaking up with a narcissist is not just ending a relationship, it's a soul surgery, fraught with pain. You need time to heal the wounds, remove the fragments of the past, and rediscover yourself. Be patient, compassionate with yourself, and believe that you will overcome this challenging period to find the happiness that truly belongs to you. Reason 5. Trauma bonding. One deeply rooted and often overlooked reason you can't stop thinking about a narcissistic partner is the psychological phenomenon known as trauma bonding. This is a paradoxical emotional attachment that forms in dysfunctional relationships where cycles of affection and pain create a powerful emotional loop that is hard to escape. This bond not only exists in the present but also reaches into deep-seated wounds from your childhood, particularly if you grew up in a family with narcissistic or toxic dynamics. Psychologists like John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory, have studied how childhood attachment styles profoundly influence the way we form relationships later in life. If you grew up in an environment where your emotional needs were manipulated, controlled, or ignored by parents, you might develop an anxious attachment style. People with this attachment style often feel drawn to relationships with similar dynamics, even when they cause suffering. A relationship with a narcissist can echo the dysfunction you may have experienced with your parents. When you leave a narcissistic relationship, what you're truly grieving isn't just the loss of a person, it's the loss of an entire network of complex trauma that has been intertwined with your past. Imagine pulling out an intricate web of painful childhood memories from within yourself. This process is not simply breaking up with someone. It's akin to shedding layers of familiarity that you've been bonded to for a lifetime. Judith Herman, a trauma researcher, describes this as being as painful as peeling away a part of yourself. The familiarity of the relationship is often what you miss the most. The manipulation, vulnerability, or even pain you experienced in this narcissistic relationship might remind you of the feelings you had as a child, striving for your parents' love and attention. This creates a familiar yet compelling emotional loop, making it extremely difficult to break free and forget the relationship. As you begin to pull away from this relationship, it can feel as though your very skin is being peeled off, exposing raw, unhealed psychological wounds. Helen Fisher, a renowned anthropologist, has found that losing a relationship can activate the same areas of the brain associated with addiction. These areas govern craving and deprivation, making you yearn for the narcissist even when you know they're not good for you. This pain is compounded by the fact that you're not just losing a person, but also the familiarity shaped by your childhood. The pain of the breakup often mirrors the long-standing pain within you, the pain of a child whose emotional needs were never fully met. When you ask yourself why you can't stop missing a narcissistic partner, the answer goes deeper than how much you loved them or how special the relationship was. That longing is more profound and complex, because it taps into the deepest wounds of your soul. It's not just about missing a person, it's about yearning for familiarity, the emotional loop of love and pain, the kind of connection that once felt safe despite being riddled with suffering. It's heartbreaking to realize that this relationship didn't just hurt you in the present, but also pulled you back into the pain of childhood, where you learn to accept less than what you deserved. Leaving is not just about detaching from a person, it's about shedding a protective layer you've clung to for years and confronting wounds you've long ignored. This pain is real, but it is also an opportunity for transformation. Psychologists emphasize that healing is not easy, but it is a necessary journey to reclaim control of your life. You're not just stepping away from a narcissistic relationship, you're liberating yourself from old patterns and the cycles of pain that have held you captive for years. Remember, your longing doesn't prove the love or value of the narcissist. It's a sign that you're beginning to untangle yourself from the toxic bonds that have become so familiar. Let that longing be a catalyst for deeper self-understanding, greater self-love, and forward movement, not a pull back into the past, but a step toward a more complete and peaceful future. You deserve a relationship where you don't have to sacrifice your happiness and worth just to keep it. Be patient with yourself. Healing takes time. This journey is your chance to rebuild a life, a stronger, freer, and happier version of yourself than ever before.